All right, good morning, good morning. We're going to be talking about the market shift that is taking place, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's not a whole lot of ugly, but there's a lot of good things happening and a lot of tremendous opportunity that's going on right now in the marketplace. The shift that's happening in the market, it does not impact your ability to prosper. It does not impact your ability to prosper, but it does mean that you must adapt if you're going to prosper. And here we're going to talk today about a lot of the shifts, a lot of the changes. I'm first going to talk about the things that really have not changed. Here's what has not changed. There are about 5,000 sides in Hampton Roads every single month. So what do you want to do? You want to sell one house a month? Does it make any difference whether there are 3,000 sales sides? And 2,500 sales is 5,000 sides, right? So I'm talking about sides. So if you want to make one sale a month, does it make any difference whether there's 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 sides happening in Hampton Roads? No, of course not. If you want to sell 5 houses a month, does it make any difference whether there's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 sides in a month? What difference does it make? There's plenty of people out there for you to find 5. If you want to sell 10 houses a month, and some of you have done that lately. If you want to sell 10 houses a month, do we need 5,000, 4,000, 3,000? How many do we need? Doesn't matter. There's plenty of activity out here. And I'm saying to you, the number of houses that are being sold on a monthly basis, it gives us 4,000 to 5,000 sides. In an okay month, we're probably in the 3,500 to 4,000 sides. In an excellent month, we're over 5,000 sides on a monthly basis in Hampton Roads. We are in a very, very good market when you look at the nation overall. There are markets that are in Florida and Texas that are having significant declines in the number of sales and significant declines in prices. And there's a little bit of a panic going on in the Phoenixes of the world. Punta Gorda, I saw was one of the worst case. I have a friend in Punta Gorda, and I saw that Punta Gorda market had dropped 10% in value. You see those headlines, don't let them bother you. In Hampton Roads, I don't see how we're going to have any significant downward shift in pricing. I see nothing that tells me we're going to have significant shift in downward pricing. So in terms of what's not going to change, I don't think we're going to see downward pricing. I don't think, again, you might see a house that you thought was worth 600 sell for 590, right? The people paid 450 for it. They paid 300 for it. What difference does it make? If you thought it was 600 and sells for 590, that's nothing in terms of what's really happening in the overall market, because the overall market, we're not going to see a significant downward shift in pricing in Hampton Roads. And we're not going to see a significant change, as I mentioned, in the number of sides that are happening in Hampton Roads. Number of sales per month for Garrett Realty Partners. We've been consistently hitting over 100 sales a month. Maybe in December, we're going to only sell 75 or 80. I don't know. I think we're going to see over the next year, I think we're going to see our consistent numbers go up to 120 sales, 130 sales, 140 sales. I'm not sure, how long it'll take us to get closer to that 150 sales a month mark, but we're on a trajectory to continue doing that. It's plenty of opportunity for you guys to do it. And even those of you that are not getting Zillow leads, because you're choosing not to, because every single person here can do the things they need to do to be a recipient of Zillow leads. But those of you that are choosing not to, the point about the leads that are coming in shows you the overall demand of buyers in general, because a Zillow buyer is not different than a Sphere buyer in terms of whether they're thinking about buying or not. So your Sphere is thinking about buying, and you just need to get to them. Bidding wars. We're going to continue to see bidding wars. Now, I'm going to mention bidding wars and what has changed in a few minutes, but we're going to continue to see some bidding wars. And let's see. And buyers who wait will not be rewarded with lower prices. That is not going to, I do not think that's going to change. I've had people, I actually helped somebody buy a house earlier this year. They actually bought in like January. They bought a house for $400,000 that when we first started talking in 2020 about buying a house, they were renting, retiring from the military, knew they were going to retire here. He was a senior enlisted. They knew they were going to retire here. She was entrenched in her profession, and it was 2020. And I said, "Gosh, you now know he's going to retire here. You gotta buy a house." "Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, but we're going to wait until prices come down." 2020, they were going to wait until prices came down. What happened? 2021, they went up. "Oh, we definitely got to wait until prices come down." 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, finally in January of 2025, were they rewarded for waiting for prices to come down? No, they could have bought at a 3% interest rate. When I first started talking to them, a 3% interest rate, they could have bought the same house that they paid $400,000 for probably $290,000, maybe $300,000, because it would have been a bidding war. They didn't want to be in a bidding war. Well, they weren't in a bidding war, but instead of 3% at $300,000, they paid 6.7% for $400,000 for the same house. So that's not going to change. We're not going to see buyers, and please, please help your buyers to understand they will not be rewarded for waiting. Now, could they get a better interest rate in 6 months for waiting? Yeah. Our mortgage company just said, we have a deal where you lock in at 6% today, which is a great rate. And if it goes to 5%, she's going to change it to 5%. So if you have that in your repertoire, take advantage of it. So yes, rates, I think, will probably come down some, but if rates come down, prices are going to shoot up. So you're not going to be rewarded. So that is the fifth thing that's not going to change. Now, what's the shift, and what are the things that actually are changing? What's the shift? Inventory increase is the first thing. There are at least 10 shifts that I've seen that are coming in the marketplace right now. The first is inventory increasing. From this time, currently, right now, the inventory is roughly, in Hampton Roads, the inventory is 25% more than this time last year. 25% more. That's a significant increase in inventory. Guess what it is over 2 years ago? 60%. 60% increase in inventory right now over 2 years ago. So what does that do for buyers? What does that do? It means that buyers are in a position to be able to have more to choose from, to be able to find more of what they want, and they don't have to settle for a house that they don't like just to get a roof over their head. That's a beautiful thing. Now, our inventory is not historically at any kind of a high. It's just that we had no inventory 2, 3, 4 years ago. We had almost nothing on the market. Now, from 2 years ago to today, our inventory is about 60% more. So buyers actually have a decent selection of housing. That is a major shift in the marketplace, and it changes a lot of things that are happening in terms of how picky a buyer can be and what a buyer can accept for a seller. And it shifts us a little bit more into being more like a buyer's market, where buyers have more control. Buyers have more leverage, because if they don't buy the house that they want, there's another house out there that's similar to it that they can buy. So buyers have leverage that they have not had in many, many years, really about 4 or 5 years. Buyers have not had hardly any leverage for about 5 years. And now buyers, because of inventory shifting, they're having more leverage. And one of the ways, the second shift that's happening that I've already mentioned, and that is going to continue to happen to some degree, but the second shift that's happening is less bidding wars. Yes, we still have them, but less bidding wars are taking place in the marketplace. That's really, really nice for buyers. Sellers don't like it as much. Sellers want bidding wars. Sellers love bidding wars. Sellers love people fighting for their house. But from the buyer's perspective, in this shift that's taking place, less bidding wars is definitely a significant positive. Number 3, sellers paying closing cost. How many sellers paid closing cost in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? How many of you were working with buyers that asked for 5,000 or 2% or 3% closing cost and got it? Forget it. I mean, almost nobody. I mean, it had to be a very, very unusual situation. If people were buying a house from their uncle, the uncle didn't pay their closing cost. I mean, there was just like nobody was paying the closing costs. So shift number 3 that's actually taking place is buyers are getting many buyers. It's not automatic. You can't count on it. If you have that one house you want to buy, you're not necessarily going to get it. And maybe you only get 1% or something, but buyers can find a seller that will help them with their closing costs. Shift number 4, sellers are making more repairs. How many sellers did we have in 2020, 2021, 2022? I'm not making any repairs. I want to sell my house as is, right? How many sellers did we have like that? A lot. And sellers were able to be very hard-headed, very stubborn, and they were able to get away with it. But now sellers have to make more repairs. The seller now that says, I just want to sell my house as is. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to fix anything. Just that they can take it or leave it. That seller is going to regret taking that position and taking that approach. And we really have to help those sellers to realize they need to get their house ready to go on the market, and they need to be prepared to fix legitimate concerns that buyers have when the home inspection comes up. That's shift number 4. Shift number 5, homes staying on the market longer. So one of you told me in the last week that you were not sleeping at night because of a house that hadn't sold. And the house had only been on the market for 10 days. Guys, that is not a normal situation. If you look back over the course of decades of this real estate brokerage business, houses stay on the market 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, right? Yes, we've gone through a period of time where houses sell super quick. Yes, we've gone through a period of time where you put the house on the market on a Thursday and you expect 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or maybe 10 offers by Sunday or Monday. Yes, that can still happen in certain situations. Yes, but in general, houses, you cannot expect the house to sell in the first week or 2. Do not take that on as your personal problem. Do not set the seller's expectations up for that's going to happen. Yes, we got to get sellers excited about how many times we do bidding wars. And yes, we got to get sellers excited about how frequently we can sell their house the first weekend, many times to get the listing. But at the same time, somewhere in that listing process, we need to lower those expectations and make them understand that to get the most money could take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, 4 months. It's possible. But we want to help them to make the decisions, the best decisions they can to sell in a week or 2 or 3 or 4. But if they don't make those decisions and they don't take our advice and they don't fix it up and they don't price it right, it's highly likely that 2 months, 3 months, 4 months from now, they'll still be sitting on the market. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of sellers that I've had recently where I failed. 100% I failed. Yes, sellers might have been unreasonable, but the bottom line is I have to take responsibility for failing when I don't get a house sold. Number 6, more expired listings than any time in at least the last 6 or 7 years, maybe in the last 10 years. But more expired listings are coming on the market, are leaving the market. More withdrawals, houses that are being withdrawn, and houses that are expiring than we've seen in many years. Sellers failing, realtors failing, sellers being upset with their realtor and taking it off the market, withdrawing it. That's happening at an alarming rate, much greater than any time in the past. And I'm going to mention that when it comes to opportunities in a few minutes. Number 7, more price reductions. Right now, if you analyze the houses that are on the market nationwide, there are more price reductions on the market, more houses that the price has been reduced. That's probably the proper way of saying that. There are more homes on the market right now at a lower price than they were originally listed, meaning they've had a price reduction than any time in 9 years. Think about that. This is a market shift, guys. This is a market shift. Next. Cancellation rate of sales. A new stat just came out that right now, 1 out of 7 sales are canceling between the time the contract is ratified and closing. That used to be like 5%. Buyers are canceling sales. Buyers are buying a house, getting a house locked in, and they're continuing to search everything that comes on the market every single day, multiple times a day. And at some point before the homeowners association or the condominium association documents are prepared and signed off on, at some point before the home inspection is signed off on, at some point along the way, there are many, many buyers, because of this increase in inventory, because of these price reductions that are happening, all of a sudden a buyer sees a house they like better that just got reduced. They see a house they like better that just got put on the market, and they're going after that, and they're using whatever excuse that they have to cancel the sale. 1 out of 7, 15% of sales are being canceled. So if you have 2 or 3 sales fall through in a month, yeah, that's a bad string. I mean, I get it. That's a bad string. And I mean, it feels like it ruins your month, but it is not necessarily your fault. It is the thing that's happening. We are seeing sales falling through. And I've had agents that say, I've been in the business 2 years. I've never had a sale fall through, and they, want to cry. No, don't take it personally. Sales are going to fall through. And right now, they're, because of the options that buyers have, because of the leverage buyers have, because of the increased inventory of the new houses, the price reductions, buyers halfway through a transaction are saying, forget it. Not that I don't want to buy at all, but I'm gonna jump from house A to house B, and sometimes before they close, they jump to house C. So number 8 change in the market is 15%, 1 out of 7 house sales are canceling between the ratification of the contract and the closing date. Number 9, or I think I'm off, but anyway, whatever number it is. Yeah, that was number 8. So it's 10 different market shifts that we have. Number 9, there are some predictions. There are some predictions, and whether this is true or close to true, it doesn't really matter. But I've heard several predictions that there will be less sales of residential homes and condos and townhouses, less sales of homes in 2025 than any year in the last 30 years. Oh, the sky's falling, the sky's falling. No, what did I say? 5,000 signs in Hampton Roads, 5,000 house signs in Hampton Roads this month, last month, the month before last. Maybe it's going to be 4,000 in, November, or 3,500 in December. So what difference does it make? But if you look nationwide, whatever number of millions house sales happen a year, it could be as low or almost as low or lower than any year in the past. What difference does it make? All that does is create pent-up demand for those of us that are building our business and are going to hang in here and are serious about building our business. All that matters, this means there'll be more buyers waiting for us next year, next month. That's all it means. When interest rates come down a little bit, those buyers are going to come out of the woodwork. And those of us that are determined, those of us that have the multiple relationships, that have stayed in touch with people, we're going to benefit from that in an incredible way. It's going to be awesome. So but that is a shift. If that really happens, or if that's close to true, that there'll be more sales, if we're doing as well as we're doing, and you individually are doing as well as many of you are doing, think about what's going to happen when that increases again, because the pendulum is going to keep swinging, right? If we're near a low, that means it's going to get better. If you're selling 3 houses a month, you're going to more easily be able to get to 4 sales or 5 sales, or be able to play more golf or take more vacations and still sell the 3 houses that you want to sell a month, however you choose to live your life. But that is significant. That is a significant shift in the market, that less sales are taking place than in many years, most years, or maybe any years. I don't know which it is. And number 10, the current rate right now, the newest, they're like the newest data point. The current rate as of today, interest rates are lower than they have been since October of 2024. So we definitely are seeing rates start to inch down. It's not way different. It's not way lower. We didn't bounce all the way up to 8 again, but right now interest rates are slightly lower than any time since October of 2024. So we are seeing the beginning of what I think could be rates coming down. I'm not saying 100% that I know they're coming down. Nobody does. It does appear that piece is beginning. So what are the opportunities for these market shifts? What are the opportunities for you? Well, go get more listings. If more people are listing their house, that means there are more opportunities for you to go get more listings. So whatever you're going to do, whatever we have taught you to do, whatever you know to do, go get more listings. You do not have to be strictly a buyer's agent. You can build a phenomenal career in this company by being a buyer's agent. An incredible career. You can sell 3, 4, 5, 6 houses a month, 10 houses a month, just being a buyer's agent. But man, it's nice when you get listings. It's fantastic. I've had 2 weeks in a row that I've gotten 6 listings up per week for 2 weeks in a row. Right? I don't take Zillow seller leads. I don't take, any of the seller leads that you guys are taking. I don't cherry pick. These are relationships that I have. These are friends that I've had. These are past clients that I've had. And, that's a pretty good streak. But 2 weeks in a row, I've picked up 6 listings. What that means is, because I'm not really doing anything really different. I have my past relationships, my past clients, my people that know me that I stay in touch with, right? I'm not going crazy after listings. I don't spend a lot of time doing that. But what that means is the overall market listings are increasing. The number of people that are willing to sell are increasing. That's what that means. And in the case of 3 of those listings this past week, 3 of those listings are houses that are coming off the market that the other agent got fired. So think about that. That is a huge, huge opportunity for you to go after expired listings, to go after withdrawn listings, to stay in touch with people, to be optimistic, to post about how great you're doing, to post about how many sales you're doing, to post about how much our company is doing, to talk about your enthusiasm and positive attitude about what's going on. And when a seller sees that and they're grumpy and mad at their agent, then guess what? They potentially want you and will want to select you. So send out the just solds and do the things that show the success that you're having. So it's a huge opportunity to go and get more listings. That I can't emphasize that enough. So the second opportunity, we have the same amount of buyers, right? You heard me say earlier, one thing that hadn't changed, we have the same amount of buyer inquiries coming into the company. That means that people haven't decided to start renting. People have not decided that renting is a better idea than buying. People haven't decided that they don't want to move here from someplace else because the Newport News Shipyard just did, I think, a 14% increase in pay for a lot of their workers, a lot of their trades. People are going to continue to want to work here. People are going to want to live by the salt water. People are going to want to live in our community. This is a great place to live. Hampton Roads is like half price. It's less than half price of the Washington, D.C. metro area. It's now less than Richmond. It is a lower price point on average on a per square foot basis than almost all the competing markets that we're competing with: Fredericksburg, Charlotte, Raleigh, Nashville, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Charleston. Right? We're still one of the lowest housing markets of all the competing markets. People want to live here. People want to move up. People are having more babies. People are becoming empty nesters and want to get out of the 4 or 5 bedroom house with all the bedrooms on the second floor. You know, my wife, Michelle, and I are one of the only crazy ones that we bought a 4-story townhouse last year, you know, with no kids at home. Right? Right. But most people, you know, they want to get rid of their 2-story, 3-story and get into a 1-story. It's just these shifts are continuing to happen and will continue to happen. And so there's plenty of buyers. So just take advantage of the fact that the buyers are out there. That is a huge opportunity. Do not get into a negative mindset. Oh, there's going to be less house sales this year than any year in history. Oh, I heard the prices went down in Punta Gorda 10%. What difference does it make? We're having 4,000, 5,000 sides per month in Hampton Roads. Take advantage of it and take advantage of that and utilize your skills and your talent to go and find those buyers and help them get a great house and help them to realize if they wait, they're going to pay more. And if they don't, if they buy now, they can get tomorrow's interest rate tomorrow when it comes. What a great thing. I've never been able to tell a buyer, just buy now at 11%. And when it goes to 9, I mean, again, those are the markets I've been in. Just buy now at 13%. And when it goes down to 11%, you can refinance at no cost. I mean, I'm selling houses to people at 13% interest. We think selling people a house at 6% interest is a terrible thing. I mean, it's not a terrible thing. I never thought I would see 6% interest again. I got in the business when it was 8%. And before I sold my first house, it went to 8.5%. And it went straight from 8.5% to 17.5%. The VA and FHA interest rate was 17.5%. Now we can say, hey, right now you can buy at 6%, which is not a bad rate. And if it drops to 5%, you'll get it. And in the meantime, you get the appreciation that happens between those times. And we can't predict when it's going to be, but we can tell you that that's what we can do now for you and what we can do for them. So guess what else is going to go away for these buyers? I'm talking about buyers that buy now. Guess what else is going to go away? These concessions that sellers are willing to do, the repairs that sellers are willing to make. Do you think if rates get down to 4.9%, do you think that sellers are going to be willing to do the repairs they're willing to do now? Do you think that sellers are going to be willing to pay some closing cost at 4.9%? Even though their house went up another 5 or 10% and they're getting that extra profit, do you think they're going to be willing to do it? I'm going to predict no. So get out there and take advantage of the buyers that are coming in and the buyers that you have and the people that are willing to buy, and help them to understand that we're in a little bit of a window and we don't know how long it's going to last, to where they can get sellers to help them with their closing costs, potentially the right seller, not all sellers. And they can get sellers that will probably fix the house up for them, at least to some degree. That's a second opportunity after going and get listings. And the third opportunity is the opportunity that you always have, that I've had for my 48 years, and I've taken advantage of it, and I've always done it, and I hope I'm role modeling to you to do it. Outwork the competition. I don't care what market it is. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what shifts are taking place in the market. If you outwork the competition, if you outwork your peers, you're going to kill it. What are the characteristics of the average real estate agent? There are 3 characteristics of the average real estate agent. They are nice, not all of them, but I'm talking about the average. They're honest, not all of them, but the vast majority of real estate people are honest. And they are lazy. You're competing with real estate agents that are nice, honest, and lazy. If you cannot dominate and build a phenomenal, prosperous career in Hampton Roads with 5,000 sides, 4,000 sides happening every month, when you're competing with people that are nice, honest, and lazy, I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to help you. No amount of training is going to help you to learn how to work. But if you will just do the work and you'll put in the effort, you're going to kill it. Every single person on this call, every single person hearing my voice is going to have a phenomenal, phenomenal career life that can help the rest of your life be wonderful. Because remember, we try to teach you to build your career around your life. Don't build your life around your career. And if you do the right things that we teach you, and you don't share that third characteristic of a lot of your peers, you're going to do great. And I would say to you, take this information and run with it. And there is no better time than I have ever known about to be in the real estate business in Hampton Roads.